Kill a few people, they call you a murderer. Kill a million, and you're a conqueror. Go figure.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
You know what real love is, Crystal?
No.
Sacrifice.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. And with me today, as always, is Trish Coughlin.
Hello, everybody.
And Sam Stepanenko.
Please don't drop me.
And today we are talking about acrophobia for our third week in our Face Your Fears month. Acrophobia being the fear of heights, which is one I struggled with in my teen years for many, many years. And if you guys don't know that story, go back to the first episode of Arachnophobia. I talk about it there a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Long story short, I saw nothing underneath my feet.
And that's enough.
And that's enough. I had lots of falling dreams for many, many years. Until somewhere around 16, and then it just stopped.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eventually your brain was like, okay, we keep showing these to him and nothing's happening, so I guess we're good.
He still goes up ladders. He's still... Actually, last year I fell off one.
Yes.
And
That was fun.
And I was laid up for months.
Your fear should be bad ankles. That's what your fear should be.
Well, no, it's the bad ankles that caused such a bad injury. It's like I landed, the foot folded, and like, damn it.
Yep.
That,
And then out comes the phone texting.
yep. Sam, take me to the hospital.
Oh, no.
Shortest emergency room visit I've ever had, though.
Yeah.
It was so fast.
It was. They were bored. I had all of the hot nurses looking after my foot.
And when you guys told me like how long it took, that boggled my mind.
Yeah, well, we were
That's
home
so
in an hour and a half.
It took us longer to drive there than we actually spent there, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I that was X-rays. I mean,
ridiculous.
there was no cast involved, so because it was just a severe sprain. But I mean, I've had lots of sprains, but never anything like that.
That's easily the worst
Yeah.
one since I've known you.
Yeah,
And there have been a lot of them.
yeah, there have. None required hospital visits. That was why I was like, oh, this could be broken.
Yeah, there was a point there where Jake had sprained his ankle just walking.
Oh, I still can. That's when most of them happen. Nothing's changed.
Just walking. So if we put you up on the side of a very, very high space, like, I don't know, a mountain.
Yeah, I'm a klutz. That was what happened. I tripped on a hike and I slipped off the side of the edge, and thankfully my dad
Was paying
was
attention.
paying attention
Yeah.
and grabbed me because there was no ground underneath my feet, and there was a
Well,
long drop into Whitewater Rapids.
Oh, so there was literally no ground. It was
Yeah.
right into, it would have been into water. That's, yeah, I can, that would have been rational.
Yeah, I doubt I would have survived it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have a rational fear of heights, or I did. I guess I'm kind of over it, mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly. I don't know. So today, that leads into our movie Cliffhanger from 1993, directed by Rennie Harlin.
No, that's not fair. I mean, he
I
had
said
some flops.
his name.
Yeah. Yes, but you said it with that tone of dismay. I heard it. I heard it.
He comes from the Michael Bay of directing.
He does, but he has some
makes
good movies.
Michael Bay look like he's full of depth.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, further to Sam's point, a Rennie Harlin film, I can usually see everything that's happening in a Rennie Harlin film. A Michael Bay
I will
film,
give you that.
I can't see shit.
I will give you that.
Right. I mean, it wasn't until about Cutthroat Island that he started to deteriorate into hackiness.
Well, it's because Cutthroat Island demolished a rather major studio of Carolco.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Which the Cliffhanger was also a Carolco film. But that's why he was working for them. He actually had a hit under the Carolco banner. But I think part of Carolco was they kept doing these big, expensive tentpole movies, and one success kind of led and funded the next one, but they never quite had enough if something flopped. And Cutthroat Island being a hugely expensive movie at the time, I didn't look up the numbers for it, but that thing flopped hard and killed that studio.
It did,
and that's why Terminator has hopped around, because Terminator seems to be a curse to studios.
Interestingly enough, I mean, considering that they had one of the biggest successes ever with T2, but I think what killed Carolco, and in terms of having that surplus in place for those inevitable flops, is they had a lot of big stars with big salaries on contract. They had Stallone and they had Schwarzenegger, right? And that's how they were making money, is they were making money with these huge faces. Right? And when they deviated from that formula, with Cutthroat Island,
I'm sure those guys were getting a lot of money. Yeah, when they deviated from that, absolutely.
That's when things started going downhill.
Yeah,
'cause Cutthroat Island wasn't their last flop, but it was the biggest. That was the start of the decline.
Yeah, sure. I got to give Stallone some props on this one, because whenever they had some kind of funding issues for this movie, where they're like it was an expensive stunt or something, the money transfer where the guy comes across the line before the money, that was an in-air plane-to-plane stunt. No effects work involved, and that was a stuntman doing that crossing with no safety line. But that stuntman got $1 million for that.
No shits.
And that stuntman got paid out of Stallone's salary.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the only example of Stallone sacrificing some of his own pay to get something done in this movie.
Because you know what? I can see why. Because it's a little dated, but it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. Again,
that's very nice of you. Yeah. I enjoy the action of it, but it's got some cheesy 90s schlock, and that's most of it won't work now.
No, I agree that it doesn't work now, but and that's what I meant by dated. But I enjoyed it when I saw it the first time, and I still enjoyed watching it this time. There's some stuff that needs to be reworked, yes, but
oh boy, we got some work ahead of us.
We do have some work ahead of us, but that opening scene still is incredibly powerful.
I wouldn't change anything about that. That actually motivates my remake. That's kind of flipping around in my head right now, but I would keep that entire powerful opening sequence, and that really makes that movie.
It really does. And the actress who played the character,
Michelle Joyner,
she was so good for such a small role, but it was her. She was what made that scene so powerful. Because I'm sorry, Stallone, as experienced an actor, he's not all that great at conveying emotion, but she captured all of it for everybody. He does a good job in this movie, though.
And I thought about this, and I'm going to play that Michelle Joyner clip a little later instead of a trailer, because the trailers were not podcast friendly. Really. They were basically classical music with action sequences underneath it. It was useless to run that, so I'm going to run that Michelle Joyner clip
in place of our trailer.
In place of the trailer,
it would feel like an intermission if you played the trailer.
It would.
Yeah. Now and then you get up and go away and not come back, and we don't want that.
No. So I will run that in a little bit. And now that I've said that, I've completely derailed the thought I was actually on.
Okay, she makes that
the
scene.
Remake idea in your head, and yes,
I would keep that entirely in place, and I don't want to get into remake territory just yet, but it'll motivate everything that goes forward for sure.
Yeah, it truly,
as it should. That's what it's intended to do in the original.
It's super powerful, and it feels like a more interesting movie there, and then we go into Die Hard on a Mountain.
Essentially, yeah. Didn't they promote it that way?
Well, why wouldn't they?
Well, that's why Rennie Harlan was brought in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was. Right? I mean, it's certainly not a classic.
I was telling Jason this. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, it's watchable. It's a very watchable movie, but I'm not. I didn't have much intense feeling except for that opening scene.
I have seen this movie several times. And I think every time I come out of it feeling the same way. It's like, this is really an example of the 90s cut and paste action movies where I was getting really frustrated with action movies all feeling the same.
And, you know, it does feel that way. But if you haven't seen a 90s action movie in a while, it was still enjoyable, right? And I haven't, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it more than you guys did, I guess.
I like
I'm not saying
the action sequences are fine.
The lack of depth that's a problem for you?
Yeah, well, when it... Oh, that actually returns me back to my thought where I was going. Back to the Stallone's performance in this. Where you said he doesn't do emotional very well. Yeah. I'm like, he damn near won an Oscar for Rocky, where he's very good at emotional work. And there's not a lot of action in that movie, but the boxing's great, but so are the emotional beats in that movie. So I'm gonna put that back down to a director who can't direct emotional scenes. Rennie Harlin's very good at action and good at, like, you know, he got his big break on A Nightmare on Elm Street,
stuff.
number 5. But I mean, you look at his career, Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, dumb movie. I love that movie. It's stupid, but it's not. I don't watch it for the emotional performances.
Die Hard 2. And then, of course, Die Hard on a Mountain being cliffhanger. And Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Oh, sorry, I'll correct that myself. I thought it was 5. And Cutthroat Island, of course. I mean, none of these have big emotional beats. They are, move from action scene to action scene. And you can tell how motivated he is on there and for those moments. But he spent so long on the pity party.
Yes.
When Stallone comes back after the death of Sarah 8 months later, wearing a wedding ring, even though he's standing in front of his girlfriend who's clearly not married to him.
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't he have a wedding ring in that opening scene as well?
Probably did.
And it's like, they're not married.
Well, they never say outright, but you assume that they're not, that they're just dating.
Yeah, well, they have different
But he has a wedding
names.
ring.
That doesn't mean anything.
Not these days, but in the 90s, usually the woman took the man's name.
Yeah, usually, but I mean, doesn't have to. But the wedding ring was the problem.
Yes.
Because if he's not married, like him having that,
I was just staring at his finger the whole time. I'm like, there's a story here and I don't know what it is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Because men just wouldn't wear one just to wear one. No.
Maybe he was wearing it because, you know...
that was his engagement ring?
No, women give more interest to guys that are taken.
Maybe, I don't know. But speaking of which, okay, sorry, I noticed this, and this is just something I thought that I got. The chemistry between Janine Turner and Sylvester Stallone, did you feel it was like non-existent?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's why the mountains were frozen over in that later scenes.
Like, I feel more chemistry between them and like the mountain than between each other.
I mean, she was so good on Northern Exposure, but
she's not been good in anything else. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's not good in this.
No, and you know what? And again, we could probably put this back on the director to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. Right, but I mean, we have characters.
But you can't fake chemistry.
You can't fake chemistry, and I mean,
the casting director has to be held accountable.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, you have actors like Michael Rooker who owns every scene he's in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, him and Jesse, chemistry galore. Yeah, they make sense.
Yes, is Michael Rooker is just Michael fucking Rooker. Right. And I'd forgotten that Stallone and Rooker had worked together before, and then you see them in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Under a different director, this could have been a very interesting movie if it didn't have the Die Hard on a Mountain plot, and it was just this dramatic thriller on a mountain as they're dealing with this personal death and this blaming between each other.
Yeah, and the underlying thing of this man's journey back to like a passion he used to have for climbing that's gone because of this tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you could take that whole element now that you sort of vocalized it. Take that whole element and make it like a true rescue story.
Mm-hmm. Right? And that's kind of where I want to go with the remake for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling something now.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it took a long time for me to think up something around this, and part of me thought maybe we could do like a murder mystery thriller up on that mountain.
I mean, you could
based on this death, and you could do it based on like one little photo in there. It's like a brother we don't see or something, or some stalker ex-boyfriend who's killing everybody on the mountain.
Or we'll coalesce. Before we coalesce into something, I just have one other thing I want to bring up. What was John Lithgow doing? Like his accent, his character. What the
I think he watched a whole shitload of James Bond movies.
Yeah.
Like, and I love John
Because I'm
Lithgow.
like, is
but
he
not here.
British? What is this? Like, this is just kind of movie British evil? Like, I don't
It's a
know.
poor accent.
It is.
It is. But then Crystal was doing a similar accent, and then I looked her up. I'm like, oh, she actually is British.
No, but see,
What is
hers
happening?
I bought. Like, cause like hers is a proper one. His, very realistically, is not good.
No, it's like a cartoon character.
Yeah, I mean, he does that fairly often, that sort of cartoonish performance, but
Sure.
it doesn't. This is one of those cases where it didn't work because everybody else is so serious in this movie, and then he's playing this over-the-top cartoonish villain,
Yeah.
and it made it really hard.
This is kind of in
to
a
connect to
period
him.
where he was doing a lot more serious roles, but somebody saw a cliffhanger and going, we could do a sitcom with him.
Yeah,
Well, if you've seen the movie Raising Cain, he
Oh,
can
yeah.
do
Oh,
some
yeah.
stuff, man.
yeah, he's,
Oh,
he-
even his turn on Dexter.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He does evil and creepy very, very well. This just wasn't a case of when he did it well.
No, but I think it was part of that cartoonish, like, shoot for the moon, Nick Cage type of performance that I kind of dug. Because I'm like, yeah, he knows this is shit. He's having fun.
This is a paycheck movie for John Lithgow. Yeah,
I kind of thought that at certain points. I'm like going, John's just doing whatever he wants. And I think he's also doing it because he's like going, I fucking dare Rennie Harlan to stop me.
I'm sure the paycheck on this was pretty good because this movie was budgeted at $70 million, had a worldwide gross of $171 million. It was a hit. And they actually were pitching a sequel at one point
Moderate
with
hit.
Gabe in a different situation because that's what diehards do.
yeah.
But it never actually saw fruition. The premise was by John Long, the screenplay and story by Michael France, who did the 2005 Fantastic Four, the 2003 Hulk, and the 2004 Punisher, as well as GoldenEye. All action movies. And of course, the screenplay was also touched up by Sylvester Stallone because that's
He
what
does
he does.
that all the time.
Starring Sylvester Stallone, John Lithgow, Michael Rooker, Janine Turner, Rex Lynn, you might remember him from Rush Hour, Caroline Goodall as Crystal, you'll see her in Hook and Schindler's List, Leon from Cool Runnings, who at some point in this movie kicks the shit out of Sylvester Stallone's character of Gabe. I'm like, there's a size difference happening here. I don't get that one.
There is,
and
but-
Craig Fairbrass also in this movie.
Somebody who's well rested and hasn't, possibly had hypothermia about
And is a
3
trained
times in the
mercenary.
movie. I think he could do it because he's in a better
Okay.
condition than Stallone.
I will give you that. Also, Greg Scott Cummins, Dennis Forrest, Michelle Joyner. That was Sarah. I remember her from Outbreak. Dennis Forrest was actually in The Mask and Eraser. Max Perlich, who was in Maverick, and I think we talked about him a little
Yes.
bit.
In
As
something.
I think,
House on Haunted Hill.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
No. What?
Yeah.
He was the tech guy in House on Haunted Hill. And
Yeah,
his
he was.
face
Oh, there
his
you go.
head scooped out.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think I used him in as a recasting for something.
Because Max Perlich's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
He's such a
Ralph
baby
Waite
in this movie.
and Paul Winfield. So there you go, and a whole lot of it's a pretty big
Yeah.
ensemble. Actually.
Paul Walton, Ralph Waite. Mm-hmm. It was very interesting.
Why
to see.
was he smiling in that helicopter the whole time? Like Michelle Joyner's hanging off of a cord.
Yeah.
Talk about the wrong reaction.
It's time to edit, guys,
No.
or just
He's-
reshoot that.
He has a funny reaction to nerves.
Yeah, and again, we're going to put it back on Rennie Harlan because Harlan should, and his DOP should have noticed that and
He
gone,
should have
"Hey,
caught it.
you need to be not smiling."
This
dude."
is what's happening
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, somebody's dying.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
everybody else is on board except him, and I don't know what.
I think part of the problem is I think that Ralph Waite, he's known for playing nice, friendly characters, and I don't think he knows how not to smile.
No,
Right.
Because he smiles literally all the way through this movie.
Yeah, he spent like a decade of his life on the Waltons doing it.
yeah.
That's where he was from. For some reason, I was like, "Going, is he Superman's dad? How do I know this guy?"
Yeah, no, I remember seeing the movie and going, "Oh, that's Paul Walton," and then watching it, "Oh, that's Paul Walton."
Yeah.
Well, I'll run that clip of Michelle Joyner dying. Enjoy, because I don't have a trailer for you, but you can go online and watch that. and in all of its classical music glory.
So, how'd this clown ever talk you into climbing up to the tower?
He told me it was better than sex.
Really? You ready for the best ride in the park?
Give me a second, I'll let you know. He made it.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Really, there's nothing to it.
Okay. I can do this.
Sure you can.
I'm sorry for all the trouble, really.
Oh, Sarah, don't worry about it, really.
Thanks. And we're still on for dinner tonight, right?
Of course we are. Okay, you're ready now. That's it. Now just sit right down into it.
Come on, guys, the wind's picking up.
All right, Sarah, just keep your eyes on me. Now don't look, Sarah. Sarah, look at me.
Right.
Just start to pull. And just keep looking at me. Sarah, that's great. You're starting to look like a pro. Keep going. That's it. Nice and easy. Hey, Hal, we're going to be out of the jam soon. All right, a little more, Sarah. That's it. That's it. 1, 2. Sarah?
Oh, God!
Sarah! No! Sarah, hold on! Sarah!
Oh, please, I'm gonna fall!
No, you're not. You're okay. You're gonna be okay. Can you reach the main line?
No, I can't!
Don't swing!
God, it's slipping!
Gabe, can you keep the line steady?
That clip's not gonna hold!
Hold on, Gabe, help me, please!
Gabe, you have to go after her.
No! Gabe, no!
Hold on, Sarah, coming up to get you!
No! It's not right for two people. Just keep it from swinging. I'm gonna sit on my harness.
Don't forget the harness. There's no time. I'm going for her.
Gabe! Shit! No!
Sarah, I'm coming for you. Hold on just a little bit longer. Coming for you.
Please hurry, I can't hold on!
Sarah, don't look down. Keep looking at me. That's it, hold it.
I'm trying!
It's breaking. She's losing it.
Sarah! You'll have you in a second, baby! Please, Sarah!
Hurry, Gabe. You're almost there. You're almost there, Gabe. Keep going.
I'm here, Sarah. Sarah, I'm here.
I don't want to die!
Sarah! Reach up and grab him! Reach up!
Sarah, reach
Come
up.
on, honey! Use your other hand!
Reach up.
Reach up now!
Sarah, reach up. Hold on. I got you. You're good. You're not gonna die.
Don't you lose her, Gabe!
I got her. Reach up. You can do it, sir.
Hold her, Gabe. Hold her.
Gabe, please don't let me fall! Please, I don't want to die!
You're not gonna die. Sarah, I got you. Just reach up.
You can do it! Please, baby, just reach up! Reach up! Gabe! Man, don't you lose her! Don't you let her go!
Don't let me fall!
Sir, please.
No, I'm living! Gabe, don't let me fall! No! Oh, they're falling! Gabe!
Poor Sarah.
Yeah.
I mean, if the entire movie was as powerful as that scene, it would have been not just a fun action film, but an actual classic movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it touches on something that, like, I sort of, like I said, didn't have a fear of heights for a long time until I jumped out of a plane and then developed one after that. But
That's what you do to conquer your fear of heights.
I
Not
know
develop
it's
one, yeah.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but that's what happened.
You do things in reverse. That's lovely.
Well, it's because I was like, yes, it was the skydiving thing, and it's sort of like just that few seconds of falling felt like a long time. So when watching this, I'm like going, the worst part of that would be how much time you have to think about what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fear. That's what I think the real fear is.
And that's why that scene works so well, because you can see that happening on her face. Like, I do not know why this actress is not more famous, because this scene it indicates how effective she is as a performer.
Yeah.
And so it's just a shame that she's not more recognizable.
I agree.
Yeah, like if you could swap Janine Turner.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep her in the whole movie, and I'd have more going on.
Yeah, drop Janine Turner off a cliff. I'm okay with that. At least in this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was bad. She just had no chemistry with Stallone.
Yeah, but I mean, there's moments where I'm like, there's times I was like, I just didn't see her as believable at all in a bunch of moments.
Yeah. But this whole movie is mainly unbelievable. Like, why is Quaylen doing anything that he's doing?
Oh.
Like, okay, you were stealing a currency that they said at the outset isn't in circulation. It is used for government use.
Yeah.
And
they said
means,
there were denominations that aren't exchangeable, which was my question. Like, are they $3 bills?
Yeah, which means every one of those bills is marked. So what is your end game? What is your goal here? Other than, I mean, they don't tell us. It's just steal the money.
Steal the money, yeah.
But you've already told us that the average person, that's useless to. So what is the end game? What is the impact of taking this money?
Yes, like, how are you benefiting by taking this money that's not, that you can't circulate?
Yeah, either can you use it, or is this to cause a financial impact on the federal government?
Or are you selling it to maybe another government to mess with the U.S. government?
Yeah,
that
because there's that is a hole that definitely has to be fixed, however we do it. Because, I mean, if they just wanted to destroy it, and to cause problems, then what Stallone was doing served their purposes.
Well, if they just wanted to destroy it, they wouldn't have even tried to steal it. They would have just blown up that motherfucking plane.
Yeah. Well, this is my other question, and I probably zoned out through part of this movie. They were transporting it from A to B, but what for? Okay, so I didn't.
If we're going to modernize this wouldn't even exist, because it would all happen through wire transactions. You know, they'd all be internet. It'd all be electronic transfers.
Well, no, there's still currency, right? I mean, right? So,
but you wouldn't. There would be no need to transport like millions of dollars and $1,000 bills. There's just no point of doing that.
Like,
anymore.
I think you'd probably, if you were going to transfer anything and you wanted to be super secure, I would say like data would be something you would transfer, not cash like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And I mean, let's face it, the security on that plane was pretty fucking weak for that kind of volume of money, too, right? What, 4 agents and a couple pilots?
Yeah, well, they also said it was like nobody's ever attempted to steal from us in the air. We rule the air. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
they're just telling us facts that aren't true.
Yeah, because there would have been at least a minimum of 1 fighter jet.
Yeah,
escorting it.
What was that thing way back? Oh, I think it was in the 70s that DB Cooper.
Yeah.
DB Cooper, yes, the unsolved mystery.
I'm like, hello. Obviously, this has happened.
Yeah. Really happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Look it up. DB Cooper. It's a cool story.
It is a really cool story.
And the Pursuit of DB Cooper is a fun movie. It's not accurate, but it's fun.
Yeah, there was something I heard recently where somebody said he's DB Cooper.
Yes,
recently,
that was within the last couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, it was fairly recently.
And I'm not familiar with planes, but that blowing off the back end of it, is that just something that some planes have?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I'm like looking at it going, what is the purpose of that?
I don't know. A movie device, I'm guessing.
Because part of what I'm looking at this is I know they wanted to have it happen in the air, A, because they need the money to fall, and B, it looks cool. But do I have to watch the heist at all?
Yes, you do. It cost them $1 million.
No,
well,
I mean,
more than that, because just the stunt cost $1 million.
From a narrative point, why can't they already have the stuff and then the plane crashes? I don't know.
Well, I mean, yes, you didn't, but it's more action-packed that way.
I do.
I mean, they did something similar with the Dark Knight Rising.
Yeah.
With the opening of
with that plane thing.
Yeah, but digital effects were a lot bigger than. Hey, there was one other fear in this movie. You guys know what it was?
Oh, bats.
That's right.
Yep.
Chiropterophobia. I don't even know if I pronounced that
Yeah.
right, but there you go.
Because I read about that Stallone and Janine Turner didn't want to do it with real bats.
That's right. So that was actually one of the digital effects in the movie.
Yeah.
I think it was all still real bats. It just
They
was
had
a
to
composite
superimpose
of
them.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could like stretch it to a third fear, with it being up on the mountain there. And in the cold, there could be that fear of freezing to death too, right? Especially that scene where he comes in with no jacket and his drenched T-shirt, and he's like shivering, right?
Well, I mean,
That's hypothermia.
first when they take his coat to go retrieve, it didn't make a lot of sense to take his coat. Take his coat as well. Like, okay, take his climbing gear, and then take his coat. So you're going to take all the stuff away from him that makes it easy for him to get what you want.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they're going to plan to kill him before he gets back down with it. What?
Yeah, the criminal logic in this is really, really faulty, especially for somebody who's supposedly a criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. And
he keeps giving Travers shit, and Travers seems to be the only one who's actually got some common sense. But he's just slowly losing his mind because
Of course.
the heist didn't go as planned.
do you think he could say fuck much more?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. If I was Travers, I'd be...
That was like every line.
If John Lithgow was acting this bonkers all the time, I would be saying fuck a lot too. Because I would be so fucking frustrated with this idiot that I'm in business with.
If you're going to kill everybody on the plane, double tap him just to make sure.
Yeah, and,
Exactly.
and the other thing too is like he's at least smart enough to know he's like going, I'm the only one who has the codes, and I'm the only one who can put the codes in. So if you shoot me, go ahead, dude. Why would I tell you what the codes are? Like he's smart enough to know that.
Yeah, he's smart enough to keep himself needed.
Yeah, keep himself valuable, yeah.
Yeah, because Quaylen doesn't give two shits about anybody on his crew. Not really. He doesn't mourn anybody, and he even shoots
His own girlfriend.
His own girlfriend, Crystal, in the end, just to make sure he's the only pilot. So now Travers needs him.
Yeah,
When
and
Travers gets the
Yeah.
upper hand, Quaylen takes the first opportunity to get it back.
Yeah, and I do not understand the loyalty that his crew has to him, because it's clear that he is perfectly willing to sacrifice anybody to get what he wants.
Right?
Right? Like they make it very clear really early on, the first time you see him, pretty much.
And you don't even see him really all that concerned when every time Stallone gets to a case ahead of him and the money gets thrown over a cliff or burned or whatever, he doesn't seem all that upset about
It's
it.
completely diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Because he's lost one case at the initial bit where it's all going over the side. Then the next case he can't find, and he's told him he's burned it, so why wouldn't he believe him? And
I mean, if he really wanted that money, he'd send his guys down to collect it.
Yeah.
As it's coming down the cliff after the avalanche.
Right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's only got one case left. And at that point, you're like, how much effort am I really putting in for this case? Because I'm not going to get the whole huge amount I thought I was going to get. I still have to put in the effort
At
to
the
get
same
rid
time,
of it.
that's probably still a really great payday for one guy.
Especially considering
Yeah.
like most of his crew's gone, so
Yeah.
every time
Assuming
there's the
he's going
case,
to kill
his
Travis.
payout
Oh, he's gonna
actually
kill
goes down
everybody
too,
else.
right?
Yeah.
Right, because he doesn't have to pay as many people.
Yeah. So his payout probably in the end out of one case was actually higher than it would have been, because that crew started around 14.
Yeah, it was a pretty big crew.
Yeah.
And they probably lost half of that in the crash, another one in the avalanche, and then Stallone starts picking them off through the rest of the
Yeah.
movie. So
But it
Well, and
doesn't-
Rooker, don't forget.
and Rooker, yeah.
Yeah, but it just doesn't appear that he's going to get to it anyway. Like, I mean, God.
Rooker
He's
had,
going to die to get this case.
Yeah, Rooker had to take out
Again.
at least one because he otherwise he would have just been the damsel in distress of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's my favorite part of the movie.
He is, yeah. I gotta say, I always like.
He goes on a
Rooker.
journey, at least.
He goes on a journey, and
He's got more of an arc than Stallone does.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
Yes.
mainly because I think Stallone's arc, his pity party, that lasts for like an ungodly amount of time. That's just awful to watch because
Yeah.
it's not heart wrenching. It's just terribly done. But he's deflated from losing a friend. He's been blamed by his best friend for the death of his girlfriend, and he wanders off for 8 months. Doesn't tell anybody, and then he comes back for his stuff, and
Yeah.
and hopefully Jess will come with him. But
Like,
he's
what
no,
were you fucking thinking?
I'm like, why didn't you just take the shit when you left?
Yeah,
the first time.
Exactly. And what do you think? You show up out of the blue? Come with me. Yeah. This is
8 months later?
8 months later, asking her to leave her entire life.
With no
her
communication
job,
during that 8 months.
No.
Her home, her...
What a dick.
Her yeah,
Her
exactly.
friends, yeah.
Yeah,
like-
just
friends?
this self-absorbed asshole.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And yeah, of course, Hal's going to be pissed off because he's not been able to deal with his grief. You can see the
Yeah.
hatred right away when she's lost, but they both felt that they were in the right. It was a faulty harness.
It was a faulty
There
harness.
was
Yeah.
nothing you could do about that.
And the line wasn't the problem. I mean,
No, it held.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
both on it. It held.
Yeah.
It was a harness.
It was a harness, and then the glove coming off.
Also,
Yeah.
and as Jesse rightly points out, what was he doing up there with a woman who could barely climb? That's just dangerous.
Interesting thing with the glove. They
had to put Vaseline in
They
it.
had to put Vaseline in it. They tried and tried, and the glove wouldn't fall off. And then finally the Vaseline. And even then, Stallone's grip was so solid that they still had trouble having her slip out of that glove.
That's pretty impressive, yeah. And her own panic too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because he had her. If she had just calmly,
Yeah.
like,
If she would have just
gotten
reached
another-
with the other,
yeah,
If she had like managed, because all she's doing is holding her own arm.
yeah.
If she didn't let that fear, because there was a couple things hanging off Stallone, like a couple of carabiners. If she'd been able to reach up and grab them, even with just a few fingers, if she's gotten that high up on a mountain, she's got to have some strength.
Yeah.
Just get up there.
yeah, no, it was just her panic was what.
Yeah,
killed her.
and again, that's what made that scene work, is her sheer panic, and it was so present the whole way through that. That's, again, I'm going to keep coming back to this because it's the best part of the movie, but because she was so fucking good.
Yeah. And it's not, it's like sort of she's partly to blame for this whole thing.
Yeah, the
'cause she's-
character, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And yeah, we can't iterate enough that this story of her loss is really what drives these two characters. Hal's hatred for his former friend, and basically this heist that's gone wrong in the mountains has forced them to be a guide to these cases, and that's kind of unified them again in this ever-present threat.
But and it was so ham-fisted, though. That
Oh,
was,
sure.
yeah, right.
I mean, it's weak. It is so weak.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate because they had that great bit of dialogue where they're like they're first sort of yelling it out with each other, where they're blaming each other, and again another bright moment in not great film. I still like it, but
It's a guilty pleasure film.
Yeah.
It's not a good film,
No.
but it's a guilty pleasure film. I mean, IMDb rates a 6.4 out of 10. That's not bad. Rotten Tomatoes, critically speaking, is 68%. The audience is lower at a 52%, which is kind of interesting because this movie did buco box office. It tends to be on all sorts of replays on television, and I mean, everybody's seen Cliffhanger. They've been talking about doing a remake for like the last decade already of this movie. It's hard to think of that this movie's getting close to 30 years old already.
It is getting close. It's true. 25 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
No, but it's one of those movies that could easily be remade successfully with the right screenwriters and the right actors and the right director. Because it's got some great elements that weren't fed on.
Yeah, and I think the idea of remaking this movie, it should be a different movie. You can keep certain characters the same, and that opening sequence is really what drives your film. I think you should keep that in and keep that the same. I would ditch entirely this whole heist bullshit.
You do need a villain. But it doesn't have to be this over the top.
No.
You don't. It doesn't have to be the Die Hard on a Mountain. Like, it could become more of a mystery thriller on a mountain, a survival story.
Yeah.
And you're right. And what it should be is like, okay, this is what I feel like what was ham-fisted about this is they're like, okay, these two people are trying to kind of find their way back to each other, back to this friendship. And it's through the catalyst of this whole being thrown into this heist is what does it. It should be, the heist is there, right? But like, that's secondary. The core story should be this dynamic that has to get fixed.
Yes, and they gloss over that aside from that one shouting match. Right? At no other point do they sort of address the repairing of that relationship.
Yeah.
Right. It just sort of organically happens at the end, which makes sense, but it would have been nice to see more of that growth.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like as they're trying to survive this whole thing, like both of them, there should be some more interactions where they're finding their way back through that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, I don't think that.
I mean, granted, they are separated through most of the movie.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, yeah, I'd add more of kind of those radio communications where it's like going, yeah, haha, I've got money, blah blah blah.
Yeah. But yeah, Hal
Oh,
never.
wow. Jesus, when he gets that second... Sorry, Sam.
Fuck, twice I tried to say it, guys.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh no,
Serious?
Yeah.
sorry.
That Die Hard moment where Sylvester Stallone finds that second case and they build the snowman. And I just wanted to say, like, there be a note instead of the note saying "I have your cash." It's like, "Ha ha ha! I have a machine gun."
Yes,
now.
that would have been
Right.
funny.
Fuck, this couldn't have been more Die Hard if you weren't even trying.
Exactly. He asks if he has a pencil, but it's a Sharpie.
Yes.
That was the other thing that bothered me. I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. Get your stationery right.
She
do
didn't
it.
know what writing you implement he had.
I know, but he should have said, "Do you have something to write with? Do you have a pen or something?"
Oh man, nitpicky.
I am.
that's it. I mean, given all the things to pick at in this film, that one's pretty particular.
I take stationery really seriously.
Apparently.
What the hell?
I do.
Apparently. Actually, I'm going to nitpick now. The helicopter. Okay, it was almost out of fuel.
Thank you.
Almost out of fuel. There's no way that you would have gotten an explosion that large out of it, even if they exploded when they landed to begin with.
Oh, and
It didn't
also,
yeah, that's true. It didn't, and they lost their tail rotor too.
Yeah.
So there's this huge fight on it.
Yeah.
Before.
and the other part of it too. Didn't she say like there's only enough to get down, but yet John Lithgow's just tootling around the mountains
Oh, yeah.
with this helicopter?
Yeah.
They must have siphoned one of the trucks or something.
Where? When?
I know. I'm trying to help, but
I know.
it's
There's no help for that bit.
no. The
There's
logic.
not.
All you do is just you know how you fix that? You eliminate the line. It's almost out of fuel.
Yep.
Yep.
There we go. Fixed.
Yeah, that's probably one of the easiest fixes, and not do the explosion. I mean, even though it's again the '90s action trope is blow shit up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is a very Bond villain death when you
Yeah.
think about it as well.
Yep.
Like when I'm watching John Lithgow do it, like I briefly thought I was watching a Bond film.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the look on his face. It was
Right.
probably the best part of his whole performance was that end bit right before he dies.
Bond.
Right?
Oh, I remember what I was trying to say before. Hal never hates Gabe. He only is angry at him. That's the thing, is that he never had a chance to deal with
Yeah.
that anger, right?
Yeah. No.
Right.
Gabe took off right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be the whole thing where he's like going, I was trying to get through something and I needed you and you fucked off. How
Yeah.
dare you?
It was again, it would add just more to that the emotion of that scene right at the beginning. If you could carry some of that through the rest of the movie, it'd be like phenomenal.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you just have you can have the interaction where he's talking with the villain where the guy's like he mentions how he's like, no, I fucking pissed off at that guy. They do sort of do it once in the movie, but have a whole thing where the guy's like, I'm not so sure this guy really likes this guy. Like
know
have
what-
the villain really question it.
Yeah.
You know what really bugs me about this movie? I mean, this is Mountain Rescue, and this world of like, I mean, granted it is winter on the mountains, but it's so lifeless. Like you can tell, like these are sound stages and stuff.
And, yeah, and-
you got a cave with the bats, but for the most part, like
And the bunny, don't forget the bunny.
the bunny that was actually originally
Yes.
shot in the movie, like, and there was so much backlash about the bunny dying that was another one of those
They had to reshoot it.
Stallone I'll pay for the reshoots
Yeah.
moments because they let the
Well,
bunny,
they
and it's a funnier
the way,
moment.
smart move.
It's a good move because it's a bit of a tension release.
They still use some of the footage from when it got hit, though. Because if I was watching it and I'm like, okay, he shoots at it and then it comes back up the second time. It looks like it was limping and had been hit, right? Like it does. You could tell. It's like, did he hit it? I'm actually wondering, did he hit it? But obviously not. But yeah, they did try to wedge some of that old footage in there to try and save me some money, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, yeah, probably.
But yeah,
I'm
you're right.
sure it was like $100,000 or something.
Yeah.
The levity of that, just this little bunny wandering around with the tracker.
Yeah, and it pushes that Travis right over the edge.
Yeah,
Right, like-
because he can't shoot a goddamn bunny rabbit.
And it's
he's-
over. Right? It's over.
Oh
for
yeah,
him.
that was the last tracker.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, like his tracking skills are useless now. His little coded thing is useless. So
He's stuck on a fucking mountain with these assholes.
yeah.
What the fuck?
He even says, "I'm going to go on my last manhunt."
Yeah.
Oh, and okay, so he kind of gets Stallone, but at this one point, he's going when he runs to the very obvious soundstage. He looks down. Oh, look, blood! It's snow. Snow has footprints. You don't need the fucking blood.
He was looking at a machine for most of his tracker. His tracking skills kind of suck.
Yes.
But everybody who has seen snow knows snow has footprints.
Yes.
Travers is dumb.
Yes, he is.
I get that, but you can't.
Okay, let's go to. There's another scene. Like, there's so many to nitpick about. This
There
one's
really are.
okay. So the falling through the ice.
Oh, fuck.
He should be dead. Like, he should have hypothermia, and then, like, 5 minutes later, he's sitting there with a T-shirt on?
Yeah, like he's shirtless,
The whole snow thing pisses me off. Right?
and then in the rest of the movie, he's out in short sleeves.
Yeah, he is. Well, the thing is, this is a sudden summer storm. That river would not have been frozen over like that to begin with. It's a sudden summer snowstorm in the mountains. They happen. They do legitimately happen.
Like, if it's early spring, you could have, like, kind of a mild ice over it because it just hasn't defrosted yet. That's what it should have been. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be summer. It should be spring.
Yes.
Oh God, with the amount of ice on that little bridge, and I'm like, you guys went a little overboard on this because it made it look like it was in the Arctic.
Yeah, and they went way overboard, especially considering they stated that it was a sudden spring or summer storm.
Yeah, I'm like, is there a polar bear nearby?
Mind you, we've seen some sudden storms here where we get a lot of snow all at
Well,
once.
absolutely,
Sure.
and I'm saying they happen, but the frozen ice on the bridge, the really thick ice on the river, that's what doesn't gel.
Yeah.
And what is that bridge? Where is that? Was the other thing. What is that building that's in the middle of nowhere?
Oh, that's obviously like an old mountain climbing.
It was, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It was probably like 50 years earlier or something.
Yeah.
That was probably the first build for their mountain rescue because they turned it into basically a tourist stop. Yeah.
But aren't they at the end of it? Where are they sitting when they finally get the call on the radio? Are they still sitting underneath the bridge? That's what it looked like to me.
It did look kind of like that, yeah.
Like they're sitting on the very thin ice underneath the bridge. What? What?
Yeah.
They became trolls. They were looking for children.
Yes.
Exactly. Trolls looking for evil man. Do you know the password?
Sorry, Rennie, but I do have to say that the more we talk about this, the more I realize that you really are a crap director.
He didn't write this script.
No,
he
but he's
just
still a crap
directed
director.
this. Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, but a good director will notice a bad spot in a script.
Yeah.
And work with his writers.
There
to
are
fix it.
so many.
There are so many. Right.
There are so
Yeah.
many, and
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to count them all. So if our listeners spot something we haven't talked about yet, please put it in the comments of wherever you find us. Because oh my god, there are so many. We're going to have a good laugh about
It's
them.
dumb but funny. So I kind of want to keep it just because I think it's fucking hilarious. Where the one guy, the one bad guy, and Stallone are going down the hill, but he's basically riding him like a sled. That is so funny.
That can stay.
That can stay. That was pretty funny.
I love that bit. You can tell that was something. He's like, we're just going to do it because we
You know
want
what?
to.
A lot of this movie, and when I was talking, as we were talking about it, I'm like, Rennie Harlin directs like Jackie Chan writes. Jackie Chan creates action scenes and then writes the scripts around them. Right?
Yeah.
That's what Rennie Harlin is except he's not Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Say it again, Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, Jackie Chan's made a career out of doing exactly that. But not everybody can do what Jackie Chan does, and that's I think where Rennie Harlin is finally kind of fell into that trap of just trying to tie a bunch of action scenes together.
Yeah, I mean, there are times in the mountain climbing scenes too. He's like, I can see the line, the safety lines. I don't know how to do Swiss. That's as good close as I'm going to do to Swiss.
Isn't he Finnish?
Finnish? Oh yeah, you're right. He's Finnish. Yeah.
I can see the safety lines.
And yeah, they so the climbers wound up doing all that without safety
Kudos
lines.
to some amazing climbers, guys.
Right. And I know in the remake, I want to focus more on the climbing aspect. Right? I mean, it's called
the
Cliffhanger,
atmosphere.
right?
Yeah.
For a damn good reason.
Yeah, and I know mountain climbers get pissed off about this movie for inaccuracies as well.
Yeah.
I'm not a climber. I don't know what they are. I'm not going to nitpick about them.
No, but I'd like to see more of the art form of climbing. right? Because it is an art form.
Oh, yeah.
And that brings me to a point about Stallone being in this role. He's too fucking bulky to be a mountain climber. Right? Mountain climbers are not. They're strong.
They're strong. They're
and
tall.
muscular, but they're
Generally
not
lean.
bulky like that.
Yeah, I've known
Yeah.
a lot of them are thinner.
Well, and it comes to a point, actually, at one point when, right before he's meeting Kinnett in, like, as he's above the ice and they're coming up through that crack.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, Stallone's going to have a problem. He shouldn't be able to shimmy through there. Like, if you're too bulky, that's part of the problem. Like, in some bits, you're going through tiny cracks. And if you are too big, you got to climb back down because you can't get through.
Yeah. And right at the very beginning of the movie, where he's free climbing underneath underneath the overhang, again, a big guy is not going to be able to do that.
That was
Not
actually,
safe.
well, I mean, that would have been a real climber. That
Yeah, of
wouldn't
course.
have been Stallone.
No, I know,
But I bet you that dude had to bulk up a lot to be a double for
did.
Yeah.
Stallone.
Yeah.
I think I read something of the guy who did it. He had to bulk up. But what's funny is he bulked up a lot to double Stallone, but in certain shots he was doubling for Janine Turner. And I'm like, okay, so I guess we just don't give a shit at that point.
Yeah.
They may have just been padding him up to make him, because all the shots were distant shots anyhow, so they could have been
Yeah.
padding out his outfit to make him look bigger and bulkier.
Yeah.
No, he did say like he ate a bunch of meals.
Oh
like,
yeah,
to bulk
they
up
used to
properly.
him 5 meals a day, and they wanted him to eat.
One in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night to wake up and eat.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, you hear people doing that, and it's like, oh my god, wake up in the middle of the night and have to eat.
No, who can?
I love
go
sleep.
back to sleep after
Yeah.
that.
I don't know. You eat a big enough carb load thing, you just go back to sleep.
I suppose you're Logie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you should focus on the climbing. And you know what? You can have sort of a thematic thing too, where I was watching something just the other day and they were talking about like people who didn't know how to climb, and these climbers explained to them like, don't panic, just focus on where you are now. Look for your next handhold. That's all. That's as far ahead. And just like kind of have that thematic where Stallone couldn't focus on where he was. Like the main character, Gabriel, can't focus on where he is. He's still stuck. Still can't figure out the next handhold. Can't get ahead.
Yeah, well, that is kind of
I
the
like
metaphor
that,
for the
actually.
character,
Yeah.
right? You know, he lost somebody, and
And he
Janine
blames
said-
himself.
Yeah.
as Jess says, you're still up on that mountain.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and this is part of it. Yeah, and focus on the art, focus on this.
Mm-hmm.
The heist and like the whole thing is sort of secondary.
That's where most of your reaction would come in, I think.
Honestly, the heist doesn't even make any sense anymore. The way the movie goes,
It never made sense to begin with, to be
no.
honest.
So I'm not sure what
Yeah.
that threat on the mountain's going to be. I mean, the mountain itself could be the threat, but
But people aren't going to go see that movie.
it
I'm
could
sorry.
it could be a revenge
well,
story.
they watched Alive.
It could simply be a revenge story as this dude comes out to take care of the people who he thinks murdered his sister or his brother, you know, a parent or a brother or
I don't know,
a stalkery lover,
Escaped
ex-lover.
convicts just end up on a mountain. There isn't even a heist. They just
Yeah.
want to get
Yeah.
show. They just need somebody to get them down.
Prison transport. It's
There we
Con
go.
Air crashes.
Yes, Con Air and prison transport and like these. That's why they're dangerous, because you have to have some level of danger.
You do. Yeah, you have to have a ringleader, and that way my casting still works.
And you have to, and they need somebody to
Yeah.
get them down.
Mine still might work under that scenario. Yeah. I knew what I wanted with this movie, but I didn't know what that antagonistic thing was going to be to motivate these guys and keep it in that action fair. You know, part of me was going to turn it into like a murder mystery thriller on a mountain, which would have been cool, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even if it's not a... I mean,
lots of accidents are happening.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about the prison heist. Actually, my casting wouldn't work because you wouldn't have mixed male and females on a prison transport. Maybe they're criminals on the run from a heist, but the heist has no bearing on anything. You don't need the heist. They're on the run from it.
Yeah,
Right?
that was my other thought. That's what I was when we were talking. I was not noting that down. Like that's why I was saying like I didn't need to see the heist. Like that's the crash just happens.
Yeah, and you don't need the device of them looking for their money. Right, they're just stuck on this mountain and they need to get off.
It could be just as simple as criminals, like some drug lords or something. They've lost. They've already been overthrown, but they managed to escape and they need to leave the country.
Yep.
There we
And
go.
they're flying over these mountains and something goes wrong.
They hit that sudden summer storm that
Yeah.
nobody was expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even use the two sort of stoner adrenaline junkies as a device.
Well, I
right?
mean, you should still have those sports climbing junkies, the paragliders and that sort of thing. I mean, the tourists, you should still have that because that ups the risk.
Well, and
You can have them as additional hostages. Actually.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Is they're the ones that they go up to rescue.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean, they're just there as victims in this movie.
Yeah, but they can be actually a device in it where they're the ones that they go up to get rescued because they've gotten themselves stranded because of the snowstorm.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where they run into these criminals who aren't even trying to they're hiding out up on the mountain there.
Yeah, it's not like Quaylen baited these guys, the mountain rescue, over to them. So they had help navigating the mountains to the cases.
My other part of this movie. Okay, sorry, this is another nitpick. When you're out hiking, like, why didn't she just say it was a plane crash? When you're out hiking, do you have a radio that you just have in the 90s? Is that something that you just hiked with?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think you did.
If you knew there was a rescue station out there and you knew what the channel was, if you're that prepared, you'd have something packed.
If they're that prepared, they wouldn't get caught in the stupid fucking snowstorm. That was the problem I had.
I mean,
They sounded like dumb and experienced
They also
hikers.
had night goggles for why?
Oh no, they did because they were doing a heist. I don't know.
Yeah, and in their heist, they were exceptionally over-equipped.
Yeah, they were definitely over-equipped. Yeah. The trackers make some sort of sense because the feds would be wanting to track their cases.
Yeah.
Sure took them a long time to get there, though.
Yeah, it did.
I loved at the end when they finally show up and I'm like, hey, just in the nick of too late.
Did they mention at one point, I remember hearing a line going, oh yeah, no, we're going to get them in the air, but they're having some sort of technical problem with one of the planes.
Yes.
So I'm like going, okay, so that at least they're just throwing that in to explain it, but at least I appreciate that.
At least they made a small effort to explain why there wasn't more air support. Yeah. Now here's my question: is why didn't they reach out to the search and rescue team? Did they not? Like, at no point do I remember them talking to Frank in the actual search and rescue.
Oh no.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Is it because it's not like their job or anything?
Yeah. Oh no, another agency, we can't do it. We're the FBI. Of course we know all the mountains. No,
And
you
we're
don't.
experienced at tracking people in the mountains.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, no, they never get to that for some reason.
No, at no point, none whatsoever. And Frank's death really pissed me off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was so pointless.
It was completely useless and pointless. It was there just for shock value.
But Quaylen's killing people for no point
reason.
But
through the whole
Quaylen is
movie.
responsible for that death.
No, he's not.
It was the British ex-soccer player guy.
Aussie asshole.
But no, he's given the nod. Quaylen just gives him a look.
That's
And
a good
it's
point.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it is an order. It's just a silent one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, but my other question.
Because remember, he says, we're not going to kill him. We're not monsters. I lied, so sue me.
Yeah. He cuts down Max Perlich when he finds him, and Max Perlich is still alive. Did he take him down the mountain already, or was he stuck in the back of that helicopter? Okay, because I missed that part completely. I kept trying to find it again.
Yeah, no, he did take him back down. Obviously, didn't refuel, but he did take him back down.
Okay, that explains that. Sorry, I was like, did he survive? And after that, he's brought him down. He's brought an obviously shot base jumper down. And
Where's your clue
still
that
nothing
something's wrong?
suspicious.
Yeah.
Frank is still looking around.
Okay, another nitpick. Okay, how did he not notice that big fucking explosion when the henchmen when they blow up that cave? I mean, because that was a big fucking explosion,
Right?
Good point.
'Cause I was watching, going, how did he not notice that?
We got to fix that one.
Like, how did he not go? What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Maybe I should call somebody.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
I know
just
you're-
people having natural reactions? That would be a great thing to add to our movie.
Yep.
People acting like people.
Yeah, because there are only two big explosions in this movie, and both of them were useless. They serve no discernible purpose aside to then having an explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. The chopper explosion we might be hit, but you know what? If the remake doesn't have a heist in it, there's no reason for that explosion to happen in the first place. So, boom.
And I do like the idea of like the prison thing because they're not going to be well equipped. Yeah, they're going to be pushing their weight around, but they're also going to be trying to survive, getting out of their. They're good because they're all going to be chained up and whatnot on that plane. So first thing to do is getting themselves unlocked and dealing with whatever armed men are on that plane if any survived.
Yeah. Well, and
that would be the only guns they'd have.
And if you're escaping from a prison, it makes sense to hide out somewhere where people aren't going to look for you. like the top of a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for an outside agency who's supposed to be coming in and helping.
Some are going to be more antagonistic than others, and others are like, you're going to help me survive this? Fine.
Yeah.
So you can have conflict within that group dynamic as well.
Yeah, and actually, that actually I can make my casting work because I do have some female characters because I kept Crystal and one of my other characters I gender swapped, right? They helped with the whole escape, right? So
I mean,
they could be quote unquote guards.
Yeah,
like in Con Air, there's that one female guard.
And alternatively, some of those characters can just be turned into more climbers, sports climbers, right?
Yeah.
Like I casted this movie based on the movie I watched, rather than the idea that we just coalesced a second ago.
It was so hard to think of something.
My casting isn't going to quite coordinate with
the existing roles,
our existing roles now.
Yeah.
But that's okay because that's the way the model works.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll
figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. So some of these characters aren't going to work anymore, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is you can make them work. Maybe. I don't know. Well, we don't have to shoehorn them in. Obviously, that's that's the best part about remaking something is you don't have to shoehorn in characters.
Yeah,
you can pull some out, get rid of some because they're useless. Mm-hmm. But one thing I did like about the size of Kraylan's group is the slow whittling away of that group.
Yes,
right. I really enjoyed that. That was one of the few things that worked really well in the movie. Was the natural progression of that.
What I think should have happened, though, at the beginning is there should have been more than one person who died after they caused a freaking avalanche because they're that dumb.
Yes.
There should have been more people who should have been
You can see the overhang, and it's like, come on. Hal and Gabe are talking about it before anybody even goes up. Nobody bothers to listen to them.
Oh, no.
Even the most... The most inexperienced climber is going to see that going, I want to get the fuck out of that, away from that thing.
Even the most inexperienced climber knows that if you make a loud noise, it's going to cause an avalanche.
So let's
even
shoot at it.
Somebody who's been skiing once knows that.
Yeah, so let's shoot at it and shoot grenades into it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you've been to a ski hill, you know how that works.
Yes. Right. Although it did give rise to a great line. It's like your friend just had the most expensive funeral ever. But
yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of funny lines. Like when they're burning the money, he's like, it costs a fortune to heat this place.
Yes.
I did giggle. I did.
Because it was witty. It was funny in context with the scene, even if the scene was, again, shoehorned into the movie. But
and such dead chemistry. The only thing on fire was the fire.
You know what? What I did like. Then this is, I don't know if this is to the makeup artist or credit to the director or whoever, but Janine Turner looked increasingly plain as it went along, like her makeup sort of.
Oh, it's going to fall off. Yeah.
Yeah, it came all off, and she looked very natural, and I did like that. I mean, it was actually noticeable, and I just wanted to point out that was one thing I did like about the movie, or about her in the movie is she looked like she'd been on a mountain for 2 days.
See, yeah, and it should have been Stallone should have looked more like red. He should have looked more windburnt. Everybody should have. Michael Rooker did, but he didn't.
He doesn't catch hypothermia. He doesn't. His skin doesn't freeze. Apparently, he doesn't even feel gunshots and knife wounds.
See, now what I would have killed to have had is the 2 points where he should have had hypothermia. The heating somebody up with your own body heat, like that non-sexual I'm saving your life thing, first with Jesse and then with Hal. Like, because Hal's a mountain person. If he knows somebody's going to die, he's going to get past that and be like, I have to save this person.
Yeah. Who, for the longest time, was his best friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he is going to sit down and get into like a sleeping bag with his buddy just to keep him alive. He's going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have made sense because that's first scene where he comes into that cabin and like literally, it's less than a minute. He's up and ready to go again. He puts on the sweater. Okay, I'm warm again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been cold, but that's not enough.
No.
And then after the river, he gets changed and he's in in
short sleeves again.
He's short sleeves and a vest.
Yeah.
It's like, guess the summer cool is wearing off.
And see, if you have like the moment like where Hal has to like warm him up again, you can really feast on that antagonism they still have for each other.
Yeah, that's another moment where they can kind of come at odds
but they have to put their own agendas past.
This is where you can have that talk.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're trapped together, right? They can't go anywhere, right? So that's where you get to have that heart-to-heart discussion that's so important to this movie that would never happened.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Right? Rooker could be
You are
saying, or
right.
the Hal character can be saying, you know what, I'm still really, really angry at you. I don't hate you, but I'm so mad at you. Right? And then explain, you know what?
He could say, like, I know it's not even your fault, but
You left. We never had a chance to talk about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I had
at this
nobody
point-
else to blame.
You could also say, finally, I've gotten to a point where, like, you have to stay here and listen to me. This is the only time I've got you fucking trapped.
I get to tell you how hurt and mad I am.
Yeah.
Right?
This is the only time you're ever going to be too cold, too unable to run away when I have to talk to you about this.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a perfect spot for it.
Nice. Yes. And then I can believe him being okay, because he should have died several times of hypothermia. Not of falling off the mountain, not of getting shot, of hypothermia.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want, like, a medical doctor to watch this movie and tell me how many times he would have died, or at least what his injuries would have been.
Ooh, like the Home Alone counter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a website that does that. Or it's a YouTube channel, but we'll have to look it up, and maybe we can post a link to it.
Screen Junkies did, like, a couple of them and then stopped. I don't know why, because those were really awesome.
Probably because
The
they're a lot of
Home Alone
work.
one's
Yeah.
The Home Alone one was amazing. I loved it.
They did Die Hard as well.
Oh, yes, true.
Yeah. We'll have to if we can find one for Cliffhanger, we'll put it in the
Sure.
in the episode
Show
notes.
notes, yeah.
Yeah, or if somebody else knows how to do it, go ahead.
Yeah. And leave it in
Medical it
our
up.
comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if it's not posted in the show notes, because you'll be listening to this and it'll already be there or not.
Yeah.
Right. If it's not, tell us where we can
If
find
it's
one.
not there, I either didn't find it or didn't look.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, I'll look. I'll look and make sure we find it, but maybe. I shouldn't make promises I might not be able to keep.
There you go.
Yeah, but you're right, and we should have more scenes with wildlife that are around when they're still
Yeah,
wild.
there's this video game I played I really enjoyed called Firewatch. It was just from a small studio, and I think it's a digital download only. If you find it, go download it. It's a fun game. It's a really well-written, emotional game.
Nice.
But you can tell it was a smaller studio because it's a mountain rescue Firewatch station. You can hear the life. You can't see any of it. At no point do you see anything moving in there that it would be in a forest, or it's just, like, damn it.
Yeah,
it's like it's not a living, breathing
I forgot about
place.
the wolves. I forgot
Yes.
about the wolves.
There are wolves.
There are wolves.
And there
well,
shouldn't be
they're
in
actually
Colorado.
huskies.
Yeah, they're not wolves.
They're not wolves. But, I mean, that could lend to some action in and of itself without having to involve
Oh, we can put a bit of
guns.
the
It's
gray
like-
in there.
Yeah, right. Like, so, yeah, I mean, maybe you want to stay away
There'd be bears, too.
I want to stay away from bears because you've got the edge and you've
Yeah,
got
there's a lot.
Revenant. There's it's kind of a trope.
I'd also stay away
mean-
from bears, considering the time frame they should be in hibernation.
No, again, we're talking about late spring, early
late
summer.
spring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would be out of hibernation, right? And hungry, so it could work. It would definitely work.
You could use that in your climax.
Yeah.
Actually, you could manipulate in such a way where, Hal or Gabe are noticing tracks and something close by, and they...
Oh, I'd use that for Travis instead of the bunny.
Yeah. Oh, Travers. Yeah, that'd be good.
And you'd have some of the people taken out simply because of these animals that are
Yeah.
around.
I mean, this is a living, breathing environment, so it's not just a mountain you're dealing with, it's everything that's
Ooh,
on it.
have a moose. I love that. Remember, have you
I
ever
was
seen the
thinking moose
video?
too.
Yeah.
They can be brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the video where somebody's cross country skiing and that moose just flies by in like hip deep snow?
Yeah.
Just
and they got out of its
barreling.
way. They were smart and got out of its way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these are like
They
Teton
weigh
animals.
over a ton.
Yeah.
And they're aggressive. They are aggressive animals.
Oh, and if it's in the spring, meaning
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And see,
You
actually,
remember that moose that walked into the motion detected front doors of the Banff Hotel?
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. We had one in the shopping mall a couple years ago here in
Yeah,
Calgary.
that's
here
right.
in the city.
There's been a bear that's wandered into like one of the hospitals.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, wildlife, I mean, we live in an area
Where
where...
can you find a free meal?
Yeah, exactly. And, and that last scene, right, where Gabe sees the rabbit hole, when I first saw it, I'm thinking, I was thinking badger.
Oh, I thought badger too.
Ooh,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, that'd be great if he got his like hand and finger
That would be so
bitten
great.
off or
Yeah,
something.
so I go with that too, right? Like, you've
Yeah.
got so much that you could use as natural environmental things that they can use against these bad guys instead of guns and high climbing tools. I mean, the climbing tools are great because they belong in the environment, right?
Yeah, part of what they're doing is outwitting these guys. That's
yeah,
the
by
other part
using
of it.
the environment.
By
against
using the
them.
environment again, because they know the environment.
Yeah.
And I think that they did a really weak job of addressing that.
Yeah, they should have done more with that in this
shouldn't-
movie.
Right. And there's that one great line that Hal has where they're talking about it. He says there's only 12 guys in the world who can climb that route.
Yep.
Right. And they never go back to that, saying that Gabe was one of them.
Yeah, like you just finish the sentence. Finish the sentence.
Right.
Why aren't you finishing the sentence?
Yes.
That's what I kept saying. I'm like going and
Yeah, like there's
And
no-
you just blew one of them up.
Yeah, and they never went back to it after they found out that Gabe had gotten ahead of them again. And Hal says, "Well, I did say that there were only 12 that could do it. He's one of them." Right?
well, 12. Well, now 11.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think they did crack that joke.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he did crack that joke. Well, 12.
13 people. Oh wait, no, 12.
Yeah, something like that. But you want to make sure that that line gets dropped properly, right? Because it is a
you're
great
right.
line.
I didn't even catch that. It was so not done.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was one of those things that they set up and never knocked down, or knocked down so poorly that you miss it. Right? And it has to be right there in your face.
Nice.
And like any good movie, you have to have those brief moments of sort of humor to lighten tension, right? To make the tension that much more effective.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I like the idea of getting rid of the whole heist aspect, but still having them be really bad people.
Yeah, there should be
Absolutely.
still some jeopardy in there,
Yeah.
but gives you a little more time, those much needed bonding moments to deal with their own traumas.
Yeah, right. And yeah, you could have Gabe and Hal traveling together longer,
Yeah.
right, before getting interrupted by these criminals.
Yeah. And like I said, not all of those criminals need to be super bad. Like you can have
no.
different degrees of badness.
Oh yeah, like you can have the guy who's like
There's
he's
going to be a lot
just-
of self-serving, and I bet you a lot of
Yeah.
them will get each other killed.
You can have murders now, but some guy who's just in there on a drug charge. He doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
He's just serving
Yeah.
his time.
Yeah.
Yeah, or he wasn't even really a criminal. He got one of those falsely imprisoned people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
somebody just got a stupidly long sentence
Yeah,
for
so
just something
somebody's
dumb.
like secretly helping Gabe or Hal or whatever.
Yeah, see, that would make it really
Yeah.
interesting if you had somebody who's part of the gang, but he's actually undercutting them
Love that.
secretly. I like that too. Yeah.
And somebody who's smart enough to be like when sometimes they get out of hand, they're like, guys, if you rough them up, we die.
Yes, they're
Perhaps you
keeping
better
us
think
alive.
about this. Like somebody's just smart enough to make sure that nothing goes real shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a case of like, how long are we going to be here, right? Like, we just need this guy to get us through the mountains.
Because there's certain aspects, there's times where like Travers and even the Australian guy are sitting there going like, I don't want to be here any longer. Like, fuck, let's just go.
Yeah.
We're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, we need to get off the mountain. The money doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
right?
because you do your window before people start showing up.
Is closing.
Is closing quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this all happens within about 24 hours, mind you.
Yeah.
Right? But when you're looking at federal money or federal prison transfers, those people are going to show up fast.
Yeah, these guys are very. This federal agency is very blasé when a bunch of this money goes missing. Well, like, they are taking.
They don't
their
know the
time.
money's missing, right? As far as they know, that the plane's gone down.
But even if the plane's gone down,
They
that's
would-
still pretty blasé.
You know what?
Well, they'd be still quick on the scene.
You know
Yeah.
what? We had a plane go down in BC last week, and within a couple hours, they had crews above the area where it was last seen. They found it with the wreckage within 24 hours. They were not just there looking for it; they found it within 24 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Even just a small, like, why would they? They really are taking their time. I don't get it.
Yeah, and this is a prison break, right? Prison breaks, they have people out there searching within minutes.
Oh, absolutely. And they would call the nearest agency.
Yes, right? And again, that's where that would explain why our Frank character and Ginny Turner's character, his name's Jess. Every week, I forget a character's name.
Oh, that's okay.
Get used to it.
I had her as Maggie in my notes for a number of times because I kept thinking Northern Exposure. I forgot she was
Yeah.
Jessie.
But yeah, that would give them an excuse to be up in the air throughout the whole movie, and until we have to get our Jess character down to the ground for whatever reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you could have the whole thing where it's just gone down and Jessie is up there, but she's unaware because Frank doesn't get the call until after he goes back down.
Yeah. The other thing too is when the communication stops, right? It stops because the bad guys have control of things and they're not allowing radio contact. And they kind of question it a little bit in the original movie, but not enough for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right?
Like that would cause concern for me. Right? So they just sort of skim over like these really major plot holes.
Yeah, the only time they really think something's wrong is when Hal does call back and says he's on the wrong mountain.
Yeah.
That the wrong peak.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, he went over to the bluff. He says he's on the tower. That's
And
not,
I like that.
yeah, so there was like a code in there that nobody was going to catch because they don't know what all
They don't
their
know what
little
range they
nicknames are.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. And you would keep something like that in there for sure.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only time that they would be allowed radio contact is to misdirect everybody.
Yeah. All right.
Coolio.
You guys want to do some recasting?
Sure.
Yeah, Trish, why don't you start us out?
Okay. Yeah, like I say, I've cast from the main movie because I had no idea of what I wanted to do. Actually, I'm going to start with my director because I went with Neil Marshall, who did The Descent, which is climbing, but with a cave.
That sounds
like
good
that.
to me. Yeah.
I like that. My Gabriel is Edgar Ramirez from Point Break because he does do climbing in that. And I thought it would just be nice. And Jessie is Natalie Mendoza from The Descent. She was Juno.
Yep.
And then Quaylen, I had Vincent D'Onofrio because I thought, why not
Very
have a
good.
tall guy, imposing guy?
Yeah.
Travers, Vince Vaughn. 'Cause
Okay.
Sometimes he annoys me, and I figure I might as well just put him in a bad guy role so I can just be annoyed.
And bring the Vincents back together again from the cell, right? Because they
There
were
we
in that
go.
together. I don't
Oh,
think actually.
yeah.
I don't think they were actually on screen
I
together.
forgot about that. You're right. Cool. Kinnett, Common, because this just seems like the role he plays a lot.
Yeah,
It seems to
and
be.
he also only has one name, which works very well because Leon Common.
That's what I thought. I hadn't even thought of that. Great. Hal, Jason George, who was in like another movie. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Vertical Limit, but he was also playing a climber in that. And then Christelle Mariel Enos from The Killing. And that's all who I cast as the main people because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I thought you'd be surprised by the Point Break one because I'm like, I know you know when I hated that remix, so I just wanted to use Edgar in something I was kind of behind.
Okay, so for my director, I went with Gareth Edwards because, why not?
Sure,
Why not?
why not?
He's done some interesting movies, but he's done a Godzilla movie, and he's done probably the only good Disney Star Wars movie. So
Why not?
with Rogue One. So, but I didn't base it on any climbers or whatever. I'm like, yeah, he's a good director.
Well, we want this to be an emotional story.
And
anyway.
Monsters, or Monster, was it Monsters or Monster? Monsters. I don't remember. It's
In the Godzilla one?
No. It's what got him the Godzilla.
Oh,
gig.
Monsters! Yes.
Yeah. So, there's a lot more emotional stuff in there because he didn't have the budget to put monsters on screen
Absolutely.
the whole movie.
So yeah, an Unseen Terror.
So, he can do the emotional beats too. For my Gabe, I went with Ricky Whittle from American Gods. So I just...
Love it.
he's got a big physique, a bigger physique, but not like bulky physique. And, there's nothing to say that Gabe has to be white. So I dig him as an
That was
actor.
it.
Like he's good. I think we'll see a lot more of him. For my Jesse, I went with Elodie Young from Hitman's Bodyguard, and
Nice.
she plays Elektra on Daredevil. Speaking of other superheroes from Daredevil, I went with my Hal as John Bernthal.
Okay.
Nice. He came across my mind too, actually.
From my Quaylen, I didn't make mine large and imposing, but I did make him proper British.
Oh, so did I.
Nice.
John Hanna,
Nice.
who we previously talked about.
He
in
can
our,
be really menacing.
Yeah, in our Mummy episode. So, and he's played a pretty decent, somewhat villainous in Spartacus. And speaking of Spartacus, I cast Ellen Holman as Crystal.
Okay, I'm not familiar
she
with
was in Spartacus. You can check that out. Sean Cameron Michael, I went with as Travers. He was in Shooter and Black Sails and the most recent
okay.
Mummy movie. He was actually Old Man Hart in Blood Drive for Sam.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
He was like looking at me, and I'm like, I'll make this work for Sam.
Yeah,
There we
you know what?
go.
Actually, funny enough, I was actually thinking about going back and rewatching that just last night. I'm like, I'm in a Blood Drive kind of mood, and then I played a video game instead. But I'm still in a Blood Drive kind of mood.
I ordered from Amazon. I'm still waiting.
Oh, no.
Pablo Schreiber, I went for as Delmer, also from
Yeah,
American
American
Gods. I thought he'd be a good Delmer, the soccer player guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For my Frank, I went with Mark Maron.
Nice.
Because, he's fun, lovable, but curmudgeon-y.
Oh, yeah.
I think there needed to be a little more curmudgeon-y in our Walton.
Yes.
Yeah. There should have been more of an edge to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
More curmudgeon, less Walton.
That's right. More curmudgeon, less Walton.
I'd like to see, like he's seen it all. He's kind of like, these kids.
Yeah. No, he could do that very well.
Yeah.
All right, since we've all started with our directors, I copped out. I went DJ Caruso.
Okay.
Okay.
He's a good action director. With our remake, I'm not sure he's the best selection anymore. I think Gareth Edwards is probably a better choice, given our sort of take on it now. For my Gabe Walker, I went with Michael B. Jordan because he's really fit, but lean. Like, he's that lean, healthy mountain climber fit.
I like that.
I like it.
For my Hal Tucker, because I really like him, and I'd like to see him sort of do more, I went with Harry Styles.
Okay.
Yeah. I think again, that lean build, I think he'd make a really great climbing look, right? Mm-hmm. For my Jessie, I went with Haley Steinfeld, because I want Jessie to be kind of tougher, and I was thinking about Haley Steinfeld in the that remake that she did.
Oh God, True Grit?
Yes, that's the one.
There
Sorry,
we
my
are.
brain just shut off entirely for a moment there.
That
But yeah,
took me a second.
I wanted that
remember
type of
either.
character, like sort of that stubborn, won't take no for an answer type of character. So I went with her for that. For my Quaylen, I went with Jonathan Rhys Myers, because I think he'd be really great in sort of like the ringleader, creepy.
Indy.
Yeah. For my Richard Travers, I went with Richard Edson. We talked about him in our 50-Foot Woman episode. He's one of my favorite character actors. He plays the motel owner. I'd like to see him in a bigger. I have to see him get a bigger role. So I'm like,
that's a good idea.
And I think he'd play that annoying character really, really well. For my Crystal, I went with Carrie Ann Moss.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, because who doesn't want to see Carrie Ann Moss die? So did I say it out loud? No, you know what? I'm sorry. She's not a favorite in my household, but I really enjoy her in the Marvel stuff.
Right.
I have so much empathy for that character, even though you don't like her.
See, and then at a certain point, though, she's like, I want to learn how to pilot a helicopter. And then she closes her eyes, they flip around, and that's a whole Matrix crossover.
There we go. We can totally do that. For my Kinect, this is where I did my gender swap. I went with Devon Aoki from Too Fast, Too Furious. I like the idea of this small, physical woman sort of dominating our lead character in a fight. I just loved the visual in my head, so I went with that.
Kinect is very angry.
Yes.
So and will go to violence very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a thing that's what she might do.
Yeah.
Like, just to keep that upper hand.
Yeah, she's played that character.
Yeah.
Right. She's played that very well. And that's again why I went with her.
Like in Sin City, she kills ass like that.
Yes, she does. For my Delmar, I went straight to type. I went with an ex-soccer player. I went with Vinnie Jones.
Nice.
Perfect.
Because he plays that character all the time too.
Yep.
It's kind of typecasting, sorry, Vinny, but I saw it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Vinny. That's totally Vinny Jones. For my Frank, John Lithgow, our tieback. Right?
I thought about using John Lithgow as Frank as well.
Yeah, but I mean, he's getting he's a little bit older now still, but yeah, I'd like to see that tie back and like to see him maybe redeem himself for his performance in the original.
Yeah. And you know what? He can be so endearing. Like,
he can be,
Third Rock
yeah.
from the Sun. Apparently, in Third Rock from the Sun, I can't remember the guy who played Travers. I think was in one episode of Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah.
So it was like that connection they already had.
Yeah, and that's we go back to that. There's a lot of connections. We need our own 6 Degrees of Invasion of the Remake game.
But our memories are shit. So
help us out, folks.
We have to go back and and you have to re-listen to everything.
Yeah, that's a lot of hours.
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys want to put the work in, go for it.
That's
Or if you have better memories than us. Right?
You guys, awesome casting.
Yeah. But we know we missed some of the ludicrous stuff in this movie. There's no way we could cover it all in one episode because there's so much. But if there's something you notice we missed and you want to bring it up, you can do that. You can have a conversation with us on Twitter at Invasion Remake. Over on Facebook and Instagram, we're also Invasion of the Remake, and Invasion of the Remake at gmail.com if you want to email us. You can also email us your suggestions and corrections, and if you got a fan challenge for us as well, that's a great place to do it, and we will certainly consider any good fan challenge as a future episode.
Yes, we will. We've done a few. Haven't done one in a while, though.
Yeah. But hey, we don't want to also be stuck up on a mountain with nobody hearing us, all that gunfire and whatnot. So maybe you can help us out and tell everybody where to find us. So you use the tracker.
Yeah.
But the tracker being leaving a 5-star rating and a short review for us over on iTunes and telling everybody where to find us. We're on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, Player FM, Blueberry, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Audio Boom, Libsyn, and
Frickin' YouTube.
Yeah, that place. We're every Tuesday over on our podcast apps and every Thursday over on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So come check us out.
Any casting decisions? I fell into an IMDb rabbit hole when I was trying to do the casting for mine. There's like a lot of climbing movies I haven't seen, like a lot of documentary ones that are pretty good too.
Yeah, there's lots of documentaries. The one that readily comes to mind around the same time as Cliffhanger was K2.
Yes, K2 was the one I was just thinking of in my head too. There
was that Michael Bain.
That was Michael Bain. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to watch like a pretty intense one, that's really, it actually has a pretty decent ending to it. Is Touching the Void.
Touching the Void is really fascinating because it's kind of part documentary, part dramatization, but it's done fairly seamlessly. It's really, really good.
It's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, like, to our listeners, if you haven't seen it, see it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's one of the most powerful movies I've seen, and not just because it's about climbing, just because it's so well done.
And it's one of those ones where like it seems something horrible has happened, but you really do kind of get a catharsis at the end of it all.
Yes.
Yeah. No, definitely check that out. Now, before we go, I wanted to recognize the passing of another comic book legend.
Yes, I was
this week.
Going to talk to you about that.
Steve Ditko passed away yesterday. As of this recording, we're recording this on the 8th of July, but you won't hear this for a couple of weeks. But he was the co-creator of Spider-Man most famously, and lots of other characters. Doctor Strange was another one of his. He had worked on many, many Charlton comics and horror books, and one of my favorites was probably his last was Dark Dominion for a short-lived company called Defiant, which I really enjoyed. But one of the greats is now gone.
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, Jay. Because, every time somebody, one of these grandfathers of comics passes, it hits Jay right in the feels.
Well, he'd been kind of exited the industry for so long, it's kind of felt like he's been gone a while in some regards. So it didn't hit me in the feels, but I was certainly sentimental about it.
Yeah.
And,
he was 90.
Yeah, he had a good long life, and it's a shame that his arguments with Stan Lee never got resolved over Spider-Man, but
we're getting to that point where, comic stores started exploding a lot when these grandfathers were kind of coming through. So there's going to be more, unfortunately.
Yeah. We call them grandfathers the statesmen. There we go. They're the statesmen of comics. Yes.
Yeah, the elder statesmen of comics. So you don't get much bigger than Ditko in this industry. Jack Kirby's been gone a long time, but when you think of Steve Ditko, you think in those terms of the giants of the industry.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
he will be missed, but he's got a lot of material to revisit, so I highly recommend you go check some of it out.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of these guys, they laid the groundwork for a lot of the stuff.
Sure did.
They certainly did.
All right, sorry to leave it on a dour note, but, that was worth discussing a little bit. We don't recognize every death in the industry, and it's rare I even bring up a lot of the comic book stuff, but that was a big one for me, so I wanted to put that one out there. And hey, we just did Cliffhanger. We got one more Fear ahead of us. Mm-hmm. We do. I was going to tell you what it is, but I left it over on the other table, so I guess I won't. Because I need to see it. I need to see it to pronounce it.
If you have a fear of surprises,
then maybe next week might not be Fear. But I never tell you guys what's happening next, so this is no surprise whatsoever.
No.
It is standard operating procedure.
So if you have a fear of normalcy, this again is very fearful for you.
Yeah, well, I guess life in general is probably a little tough for you if that's the case.
Right?
Yes, fear of surprises and fear of normalcy, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You are screwed all around.
But trust me, we got another fun one for you next week. And if you really like Face Your Fears Month, please let us know again on our Facebook or Twitter, or email us, because we might do it again.
Ooh.
I know we're having fun with it.
We are very much having fun with it. Yeah.
True. Or if you have a movie that we might not know about that, like, you feel perfectly encompasses your fear, let us know.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that would be
absolutely
fantastic.
Let us know about that stuff, because that could be a future episode. We won't do it this year. We've got one more to go, so maybe next year it'll fall in the next slate of Face Your Fears Month. I don't know if it'll be July again, or just it'll be wherever I remember to put it. But we'll try to make this a yearly thing, because this is a lot of fun to do for us. So
yeah, and we like doing theme months once in a while.
Yeah, and it's been a while. All right, well, that's it. I've been Jason.
I'm always Sam.
I continue to be Trish.
And we're not going to hang out here anymore before that line breaks. We are out of here.
You're an asshole.
Yeah? And you're a lad man, punk slag. He's about to die.
Maybe. But in a minute, I'll be dead. You will always be an asshole. So go ahead and shoot. I'm getting cold. Shoot!